All right, let's dive right into this explainer by confronting a pretty frustrating modern reality. Have you ever sat down to just read a book or maybe enjoy a quiet conversation and suddenly realized your brain absolutely refuses to focus? Well, you're definitely not alone. We're going to look at exactly why this is happening to literally millions of us right now.
First off, I really want to validate what you might be feeling. If you're struggling to focus, it's not a lack of discipline, and it's not because you're lazy. It's actually a physical, structural adaptation happening right inside your head. Which brings us to a huge question. Can your brain actually recover from years of screen addiction, or are we permanently rewired? The answer is actually far more hopeful and way more fascinating than you might think.
Let's move fast to capture exactly how this feels. For so many people today, reading a simple book? Impossible. Just looking at that red spike on screen shows the stress. Focusing on a single page has somehow become physically uncomfortable.
And what about watching a movie? Hard. Even totally passive activities like just sitting through a film without instinctively reaching into your pocket to check your phone, well, it's become a massive challenge.
Taking a walk in the park? Boring. Your brain has adapted so heavily to endless scrolling, constant pings, and instant rewards that just looking at a quiet tree feels, well, entirely too slow.
Section 1. The brain is always changing. Now, this is where things get really interesting because we're moving away from the doom and gloom and straight into the fascinating science of how our minds actually work.
You know, for centuries, scientists believed the adult brain was totally fixed, like a rigid cage. But the modern truth is so much more dynamic. As you can see illuminated here in green, your brain is constantly rebuilding itself. Every single thought you repeat, every habit you practice, it literally rebuilds your neurowiring.
This incredible ability actually has a name, neuroplasticity. Basically, it's the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural pathways based on repeated behaviors. Think of neuroplasticity like walking a path in a dense forest. The more you walk the path of unlocking your phone or refreshing social media, the quicker that tiny, overgrown trail turns into a super efficient, inescapable highway. Your brain isn't actively choosing distraction, it's just becoming highly efficient at it.
Section 2. The slot machine effect. So, the really crucial point here is understanding exactly why our phones are so exceptionally good at hijacking that neural pathway. Think about how you interact with your screen. One scroll, nothing. But every single swipe triggers a sense of anticipation. Your brain is constantly asking, hey, what if something interesting happens next?
Another scroll. Okay, interesting. You see, you don't keep scrolling because every single video or post is incredible. You keep scrolling because of something called variable rewards. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's super boring, and you never really know which one it's going to be.
And then another scroll. Amazing. That unpredictable hit flashing right there in red is a massive mental spike. It's that sheer unpredictability that makes stopping feel incredibly difficult. Uncertainty is literally one of the strongest motivators the human brain has.
But what is this all actually costing us? Most people think screen addiction just wastes time. But time isn't the biggest cost. Your attention is. Imagine trying to read a book while someone taps you on the shoulder every 30 seconds. That constant task switching increases severe mental fatigue, and over time, it destroys your capacity for deep focus. Sustained attention literally begins to feel actively uncomfortable because your brain is now fully trained to expect an interruption. Doing one thing simply becomes harder than doing 10 things badly.
Section 3. The power to change back. Let's pivot to a much more optimistic view. Because if your habits can change your brain, then new habits can absolutely change it back.
The amazing news here is that neuroplasticity works in your favor too. Notice how those new, healthy pathways bloom in green? You see, your brain doesn't actually know the difference between a good habit and a bad one. It simply strengthens whatever you repeat. Every single time you resist checking your phone, or finish reading just one more page, or take a walk in total silence, you are carving a brand new, healthy neural pathway. Recovery isn't magic, folks. It's repetition.
Section 4. The reality of recovery. Now, we need to be completely honest about what taking your attention back actually physically feels like right at the beginning.
When you start this process, I won't lie, the first few days are undeniably tough. You might feel restless, incredibly bored, or instinctively reach for your device without even realizing it. A lot of people think this means their digital detox is failing, but remember this. Discomfort doesn't mean something is wrong. It means change has begun. It's really just your brain noticing the sudden absence of constant stimulation.
It's very much like the withdrawal you feel when you cut back on caffeine or sugar.
This timeline clearly maps out your journey to recovery. Let's walk through these green notes together. In the first few days, you're definitely going to notice that unconscious reaching for the phone. But stick with it, because by the end of the first week, notifications actually start to lose their power over you. Your attention becomes way less reactive. Move on to weeks 2 to 4, and people consistently report sleeping better, feeling calmer, and reading for much longer periods. And as you head into the following months, deep concentration slowly returns. Tasks that once felt painfully boring begin feeling genuinely enjoyable again. Your brain is simply remembering something it always knew how to do: focus.
Section 5, how to rewire your brain. So how do we actually get there? Let's translate all this science into some real action. And hey, remember, recovery doesn't require throwing your smartphone into a river.
These 5 steps are your roadmap. 1. Turn off the notifications you don't truly need. 2. Create moments every single day where your phone is physically out of reach. 3. Try reading longer articles or books instead of endless short-form content. 4. Walk in silence. Just allow your brain to experience quiet again. But I really want to emphasize step 5 here. Practice boredom. Practicing boredom is absolutely critical, because when your brain stops endlessly consuming, it finally starts creating. Think about it. Some of humanity's greatest ideas weren't born while scrolling. They were born while wondering, walking, or just simply sitting quietly.
And that really brings us to the bigger picture. Modern technology is an absolutely incredible achievement. The goal here isn't to reject it entirely. The goal is to make sure we're the ones using technology, instead of technology using us. Every app and every algorithm is fiercely competing for your very limited attention, and you absolutely must protect it. As this really powerful quote reminds us, wherever your attention goes, your life follows.
Since your brain will always adapt to its environment, it was never actually broken. It simply adapted to what you gave it. So I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to consider the next time you blindly reach for your device. Every moment of defocus is strengthening your brain. Every distraction is training it. So the real question is, what are you training it to become?